7 o'clock Central Time on American Family Radio.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. A mass shooting in South Africa's largest city leaves at least 12 people dead.
Police believe more than 10 attackers were driven in a minibus to an informal settlement in the Cleveland suburb of Johannesburg. The gunmen moved through the area, opening fire on residents at multiple locations. They then fled the scene in their vehicle. 9 men and 3 women were killed. Another 9 people were wounded. Police have not made any arrests and say they're not sure about the motive. There's speculation the attack was linked to illegal mining. The affected suburb is known for its connections to that activity. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
President Trump ordered strikes against the Iranian regime in response to the downing of a helicopter. Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv, Israel, with the latest.
A senior U.S. official told Fox News fighter jets hit 20 different sites, including air defense systems and radar sites. CENTCOM said in a statement U.S. forces remain vigilant and postured to defend against unjustified Iranian aggression. These strikes came in multiple waves. Following the first wave, Iran's foreign minister posted to X saying in part, quote, "Our powerful armed forces will leave no attack or threat unanswered. Leave our region if you want to be safe." History of the Persian Gulf has many chapters on dire fates of intruding outsiders. Shortly after, the Iranians responded with missiles and drones launched toward U.S. forces in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. The main target, according to the IRGC, was the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet in Bahrain.
States such as Maine and California have the results on who will be moving on in the race to become senator and governor. Madeline Rivera from Washington explains who won for those 2 states.
Graham Plattner's scandals weren't enough to sway Maine Democrats. He won the primary pretty comfortably with 72% of the vote, and this will set up what's likely to be an expensive race heading into the general election. Plattner supporters still saw him as the best choice despite the controversy surrounding his alleged treatment of women and a tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol that he's since covered up. Plattner says his story is one of hardship. Meantime, after about a week, the race to become California's next governor is set. Republican Steve Hilton advanced and will face Democrat Javier Becerra in November.
The Department of Justice is currently investigating Arizona State University for alleged violations regarding DEI practices. Caleb Castile has more.
In 2025, President Donald Trump issued a federal executive order that aimed to crack down on DEI in higher education. This caused universities to eliminate or rename DEI programs, remove DEI wording from websites and policies, and review programs to stay in compliance. However, the work done at colleges across the country by the Accuracy and Media Group shows that these anti-DEI measures are not hard enough on diversity, equity, and inclusion in colleges and universities. At Arizona State University, AIM found 7 different staff members that bragged about including DEI in their curriculums. The university then ignored AIM's request for further comment on the viral videos. Accuracy and Media President Adam Gillette says that he thinks the anti-DEI laws are rarely, if ever, enforced.
I'm not really aware of anywhere where it is being enforced, and that's because most of the state bans on DEI aren't worth the paper they're printed on.
Gillette says that states need to draft a law like the state of Florida's, which restricts curriculum by prohibiting universities from promoting identity politics. He also says that states need stronger consequences for those found guilty of being in violation of the law.
Anybody caught breaking a law while working for the taxpayer should never be allowed to collect a taxpayer-funded paycheck again, and they should be stripped of their pension.
The Civil Rights Division of the DOJ have yet to reach any conclusions about the subject matter of the investigation.
The House has passed its $70 billion bill to fund ICE and Customs and Border Protection for 3 years. Bill Malugin with more.
The final vote here was 214 to 212. Every Republican present voted yes. Every Democrat present voted no, while independent Congressman Kevin Kiley also voted no because he says the bill included no reforms to ICE. House Speaker Mike Johnson taking a victory lap over Democrats just after that vote.
By funding it for 3 years, we've taken away their ability to cut that funding, to block that funding, or to take hostage the funding for the remainder of the Trump administration.
While on the other hand, Democrats said Republicans just aren't focused on priorities that Americans care about.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Do you believe in the absolute inerrancy of God's holy word? Do you believe in the power of the Holy Spirit to radically change lives and empower us to live like Christ? At Wesley Biblical Seminary, we believe God is raising up a movement of people across our nation and across the world. And if you believe these are the kinds of pastors we need leading our churches in the future, we invite you to learn more about partnering with us through giving. Learn more about Wesley Biblical Seminary at wbs.edu today.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Issues, the name of this program. My name's Tim Wildmon, and it's Wednesday, June the 10th, 2026. And joining me in studio is Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Wesley Wildmon.
Good morning.
And Fred Jackson.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, let's see. Jenna Ellis will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. And then Steve Paisley-Jordahl is at work today, and he will join us an hour from now. So, summertime's here.
It's here.
It's here where we live.
Got in my car last night, late afternoon after work. It said 96 degrees.
In the car?
In the car. And I put up one of those little reflectors, and I thought, oh, man, summer is here.
Yeah. The reflectors, you talking about the things people put in their windshield?
The windshield.
Yeah, and I finally, this is the first year I broke and got one, but I just don't know if it really makes that big of a difference. But I'm in.
Maybe you're right.
But I'm using it.
You were using it.
So.
See, did you think right there was, so you didn't ask Ed whether it works or not?
I just see everyone else do. I see a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Let me ask you this: if your friend jumped off a building,
see where we're going here,
and would you do that just because he did?
I would like to think that the consequences of jumping off a building and putting a sunscreen, a sun shade up in the truck are two different things. But
that is a good reply for a wisecrack.
No.
That was a wisecrack.
Wisecracking against the man who has you in his will.
That's not
is not necessarily a good thing.
No.
Oh wait, I was just joking.
Okay.
If you guys want a solution to hot weather, go to Montana.
Yeah. Why is it snowing up there?
It snowed there last week.
Oh wow.
No
in
kidding.
Montana?
In Montana.
That was June still. I mean, that was first week of June.
It snowed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll never hear me complain about hot weather, because I don't want to be a hypocrite.
You do like
weather hypocrite.
You like hot water. Hot weather.
Yeah.
Well, hot water. You get in hot water a lot, but you like hot weather.
I like hot weather, man. All right, summertime is here officially. Is it?
No, I think
21.
Yeah, 21st.
Not officially, but weather-wise, for most of the country, it's summertime. All right, what's your first news story you got for us there, Fred?
A story that we thought we weren't going to discuss for a while, but here we are discussing it again because there have been developments overnight. So yesterday, I'm not sure when we were on the air whether we had the report of yes, I think we did, the U.S. helicopter that was attacked by an Iranian drone. We got more details on that this morning. It was very interesting. This drone that hit the Apache helicopter, which is very well fortified, the drone penetrated the side of the helicopter but did not explode. And we're getting this by way of Trey Yangst, who is just the excellent correspondent for Fox out of Tel Aviv. He talked to President Trump, he said this morning. So the extra details come from the president. This drone buries itself inside the helicopter without exploding. Pilots reporting it was getting very hot in the cockpit. So they basically decide to land in the water. And then this drone-controlled rescue vessel, U.S. Navy vessel, comes and picks them up and takes them to safety. So there's a lot to talk about there. These drone-controlled things now are defining military.
Yeah, the world has changed rapidly in the military. We've seen this in the Russia-Ukraine war.
Yes.
Drones are part of the wave of the future.
They are. Anyway, overnight, here's what's happened. Because of that Iranian attack on this U.S. Apache helicopter, President Trump gave the orders for several targets inside Iran to be hit. The Iranians responded. They aimed missiles at several of the countries on the western side of the Persian Gulf, Bahrain, I think it was, and a few others. Those missiles from Iran were intercepted. But that all prompted President Trump this morning on his Truth Social to say...
And the drama bills.
And the drama bills.
Because what is he going to say? Go, Fred.
Yes. Says Iran will pay the price for stalled talks.
Okay.
We all are waiting to see if that happens. Mark Montgomery is a retired Navy Rear Admiral. He says proportional strikes have run their course, talking about what's happened during the ceasefire, and he says resumption of all-out war may be next. Cut 3.
At some point, this is going to probably escalate back up to a full scale, like 400 strike day in the near future. If this back and forth keeps going, at some point you can't just keep doing proportionate strikes back and forth. If they continue to reach out and try to hit ships that are transiting through the southern scheme, which is what was going on last week, or they strike at our allied partners' bases, in the Middle East, Kuwait, Bahrain, ones that are much harder to defend because of their proximity than, say, Jordan, where we have a lot of warning. If that continues, at some point the president's going to have to do real cost imposition on them and what's called a disproportionate or escalatory strike. But I think the president's trying hard not to do that.
All right.
Well, Iran can certainly continue to do these proportionate strikes because they're stringing they're stalling. You guys remember? You're not old enough, Wesley, to remember it. Tim, I know, does. Fred, I don't know if you ever paid attention to stall ball in basketball. You remember stall ball?
Yeah, four corners.
When there wasn't a shot clock. You're just going to stall the game until you win because you...
Or have a chance to win. Oh, yeah. If you got a 10-point lead, you just go into stall mode.
So I think that's what Iran's doing. They're happy to fire a couple missiles here and there and try to take down this or that. They're not on the clock. The president is under the political pressure of, we got midterms coming up. And
I don't understand President Trump's comments. I'm getting tired of him. The reason I was sarcastic a while ago, every day he told us 2 days ago we're on the verge of a deal and complete and total victory within the next,
2 weeks.
Okay. And then we have this happen, and you go, where's the evidence for what you're saying to be true? I want to see it. I think we're tired of the...
You mean that we want to see a peace deal if there's a peace deal?
Yes. And he keeps saying it's imminent, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
He has said that over the last 3 weeks. He's repeated that several times.
Okay. And then the evidence contrary to that is happening in real time now. Mm-hmm. And you're going, I don't know who to believe in this because President Trump, is he just being snookered? He's not one to be snookered much. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty worldly and pretty wise. Worldly, by that I mean he's
a lot of experience.
He's been around the block a few times, okay, in life. But it just appears to me like he's being played. Mm-hmm. And it's just getting embarrassing. I say embarrassing. That's how Southerners say it. Anyway, Wesley, what do you think's going on here?
I have no comment on President Trump, but I do have a comment on the story.
Go.
I'm thankful that the two pilots were not injured and they were recovered.
Amen.
And tell us a little bit about how they were recovered. This is interesting, Fred.
This is the drone vessel. Ukrainians actually have this drone vessel, but it's the first time it was used in this kind of operation. I guess there is somebody at CENTCOM, probably, that sits with control over satellites that control these unmanned vessels. And I saw film or video of it this morning. These things move along at a pretty good clip. and they just have a kind of satellite receiver on the top. There's no human beings on board. And somebody at CENTCOM says, this is the coordinates for this helicopter, go get them.
And there must be some kind of camera, too, on the vessel so that the person who's controlling it can see from ground level, sea level, or whatever.
Yes.
Where they're going, and so you don't run anybody over.
Yeah. Okay, so let me make sure I understand what happened here. We had an Apache helicopter that I guess had left a ship somewhere out in the
one of the bases in the Persian Gulf.
For some reason, we don't know the purpose or the mission of the helicopter, right?
Probably just on a patrol.
Okay, so the Iranians fire a drone which doesn't penetrate.
It penetrated,
but did not explode.
I've never heard of that before. Must have been. Is that captured on film?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, but
if it has, it's not released yet.
So, a helicopter. You said these things are made out of titanium.
Parts of it for sure, but they're tough.
Yeah, these are not flimsy helicopters. They're built for the battlefield.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine the jar though that hit those guys?
Well, they probably thought their life was over.
Yeah, and it didn't explode, but they're sitting there going, "We have a undetonated drone that could explode at any moment."
Yeah.
And they decide to
ditch
or put the craft in the sea, and then they're out there at sea waiting on
a drone rescue vessel.
Let me ask you this then: had the drone been successful and blown the Apache helicopter out of the sky, killing 2 American, would that make a difference? You think on any level? In terms of our response, we did respond. Yeah. Anyway, so thank God, as you said, Wesley, none of our soldiers were, our Navy sailors or whatever their role was there were airmen, I should say, were hurt or killed certainly, but
Army aviators.
So, but in response to that, the U.S. hit some targets as we get ready to have a deal.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Well,
no comment.
Well, President Trump also says he has a very good relationship with the Iranian leader. Why are you laughing?
Has he said that? He hasn't said that, has he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, actually,
he said he had a good relationship with the Iranian leader.
Well, here's part of the problem when we talk about this war, is that there are levels of authority within Tehran.
Right.
There are apparently there's the Islamic theologians,
right,
and then there is the military, and then there are some negotiators. Now, according to reports, there's conflict within those three groups as to how to move forward. It is believed that the military wing, they want to continue the battle. No surrender, no white flags, nothing. Whereas the more civilian negotiators are apparently saying a lot of damage done to our economy. We're losing hundreds of millions of dollars every day because of the blockade, and we need to settle this down. So I think Trump is talking to one group, and he keeps saying a deal is close next couple of days, but then the military continues these strikes.
Yeah, because they're in control of the weaponry.
Yes.
So they can almost sabotage any deal that...
Yes. And that's kind of the sense that we're starting to get from this. Whereas for Israel, they are living real time with missile threats from Hezbollah, which is funded by Iran, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and of course, Israel was fired upon by Iran last week. So you've got that dynamic.
And Israel fired back.
They did.
Yeah. So, and for that, President Trump said
nasty
that Israel
things
needs
about
to stop it.
Yeah. Nasty things about Netanyahu.
So, President Trump, I can't find the exact article, but he did. It was an interview. He did a television interview. He said He has a very good relationship with Iran. You didn't see this?
No.
Yeah, but he also said that about North Korea's leader too, and China. I mean,
you know what? I there's an explanation for that kind of. Same thing with Putin. Okay, and that is that President Trump, when he says he has a good relationship, that means he's communicating and they can talk about things, and there's always the possibility of some sort of deal. I'm guessing that's what he means by that, rather than saying, "Hey, we're both on the same page." We're
on the same.
Yeah, I think he's saying we can talk through this and get our differences.
If Biden said he had a very good relationship with Iran, and we're in the middle of a war, sort of, a war, we would say that's nuts. Would we not?
Not based on what Ed's saying there. No.
Ed's talking about Trump.
Yeah, but you, okay. Well, the alternative is you say you have a terrible relationship with him. I mean,
to me, I'm not sure it helps to publicly say anything about whether you got a good relationship or not. And that's typically what politicians don't do. They don't talk publicly about that. Donald Trump
talking about Israel.
Right.
In which case you need to slap them around a little bit.
Yeah. But in the case of Donald Trump, even though he is politically astute, he is a businessman. So he is going to apparently publicly say things. I don't think Biden would ever say that. I don't think,
my point is,
Bush would say.
My point is that we need to try to be consistent with our analysis and criticism and complimentary.
Well, Trump has been consistent on this. He's said this about other leaders in order to get them to sit down at the table.
Okay, you Trump apologist, go ahead. Go ahead. No, Tell me I'm crazy.
Well, I'm with Wesley on this one. This is what Trump said. This is what he does.
Yeah, I think what frustrates you is that when he does that, but then turn around and he takes some of our Republicans and he calls them names and says that they're bad people.
My frustration with President Trump is I don't think he's telling the truth.
Well, that's true.
That he's got a good relationship?
Yes.
Okay, that's different, yeah.
I'll just say this. A good relationship, if you define it as Ron shooting our Apache helicopter out of the sky,
right,
and we're good, then I don't understand what he's talking about. And when he keeps saying we're within days or weeks of a total, complete victory and a deal, and it seemingly
not true.
It's the same story every day. Now, maybe I'll have to come back and apologize a week from now when Iran surrenders. But until then, he just doesn't seem to be shooting straight with us as the American public. That's my opinion. You guys have a different one. You guys are buying it.
No,
you guys are buying the good relationship deal.
No, that's not. No, that's definitely not true. I've been on the last 2 weeks. I've said many times that we're being misled. This is
who?
By the Trump administration, the military, whatever. I mean, about us not it being over in 2 weeks. It's not going to be over in 2 weeks.
Okay, guys. Are you guys new to politics here? You remember George W. Bush on the aircraft carrier with mission accomplished? Politicians always put the best possible spin on. I remember LBJ saying we're just going to, and maybe even JFK and any other initials I can use, right. John F. Kennedy, we're just sending soldiers who are just going to, they're basically consultants for the South Vietnamese. We are not getting involved in, this is what politicians do until they're forced by the realities that are evident to everyone to come clean about. George W. Bush saying, we're going to make the Middle East safe for democracy. First, we're going in after weapons of mass destruction. And then when we found there were none or they'd been moved and we couldn't find them, no, we're going to make this a democratic regime. This is what politicians do.
Okay,
I'm
but
shocked
I thought,
that you guys
but
think that
I
this
was
is...
told Trump was different. He's a straight shooter. And everything. Anyway, I understand what you're saying. You're right. Politicians of all stripes, Democrats, Republicans, presidents.
They spin.
They
all the time.
They spin, and Trump spins too.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And but you know, it just gets a little frustrating when you hear things that, and it across.
Which is why I said I'm not commenting on it.
Yes,
but we keep dragging you in.
When the evidence doesn't seem to support what you're saying, and you keep telling us things that we don't see any.
I think President Trump has been trying to put a good spin on this because he wants gas prices down. There's been a lot of political pressure on him and his party.
And it's not going the way.
And it's not going the way. I don't think he should have been saying anything. We should have just bombed the slap out of the Iranians. We should have broken bridges and power plants and devastated things within the first 2 weeks of this. And when they said we're not surrendering, we keep blowing more stuff up.
Until they surrender.
Well, is that what Jesus would do?
That's what Wesley would have done.
Just wondering.
That's what I would have done. They should have never stopped.
All right, let's move on here. We
told ourselves we wouldn't do this. We told ourselves we were not going to talk about Iran again.
You know,
well,
the good news is
when I said, and you were out last week on the beach frolicking, and I said, while you were gone,
I was frolicking, baby.
While you were gone, I said Trump said that he had a very good relationship with the Iranian leader, the Iranians. I don't know if he said. So that's what I was referring to, and you were in disbelief.
Yeah, because I was frolicking.
That he said that, and I had to say that he did say that. He did say exactly that, and that's what I'm saying. That there's to say something like that when there's no evidence to support you makes me question anything he says on this issue.
Especially since you never know. We may send a cruise missile. And then you tell me all politicians lie, and that's supposed to be the end of it. You say you have a good relationship with the Iranians, and maybe tomorrow he sends a cruise missile into your kitchen while you're eating cornflakes.
I don't know.
Good news is I'm not on today's issues tomorrow.
Well, the good news is hopefully. Well, no, I don't know. I'd hope that we all hope that this would be resolved one way or another by now. But President Trump and his team
got several things wrong. They didn't consider the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah,
that's one thing they didn't consider when they started this.
Yeah.
They also pulled up. And apparently
no
we're
regime
not,
change.
No regime change. No nuclear. Or they
can't get all the uranium.
Yeah, so we got a lot of problems here. You like my criticism of President Trump?
Well, President Trump says they will have no nuclear weapon. He did draw that red line in the sand yesterday or the day before again, and I'm going, okay, well, we'll see how that turns out. Let's go ahead and take our short break here.
But, folks, we want you to know we are not talking about this war again until we have a solution.
We're going to have to form a pact.
We formed a pact.
Well, then the Iranians tried to shoot our helicopter out of the
That's true.
out of the sky.
That was a great story. If I'm one of those two pilots, I'm thanking Jesus.
Yes,
Amen.
That drone didn't blow up.
Let me ask you this. What about the next two pilots who were scheduled to go out on patrol? Think they got went down in their back?
My back. I'm sorry, Sarge.
I'm sorry,
Captain Miller.
Captain, I'm going to have to bail out on you right here. I don't mind if Leroy goes in my place.
These pilots are probably already captains.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing because the war is funny. I'm just saying that these two pilots got shot out of the sky, and they were on patrol, and you wonder about, they going to keep sending patrols out?
Yeah.
We'll be back momentarily. Jenna Ellis will be with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
In the Bible, we have the story of Jesus stooping to wash the feet of his disciples. This was a very unusual act for Jesus to do, for it was not the task of the master to wash his servant's feet. Rather, it was the responsibility of the servant to wash the feet of the master. It was such an unusual action that one of the disciples, Peter, was not going to let Jesus wash his feet. No way was he going to let Jesus wash his feet. But Jesus would have it no other way. You know, there are three tremendous truths we can gain from this incident. First of all, this incident shows the purpose of power. Just what is that purpose? You know, it's an ageless question. Well, the purpose is not to rule, as many think. Someone once said, every man would like to be God if it were possible. Some few find it difficult to admit the impossibility. Remember Hitler or Caesar and Nero? Neither is the purpose of power to force, despite what some people think. A very wealthy businessman once made this statement. He cursed the people and then he said, I have the power. I have the power. Many share that attitude. The purpose of power is to serve. Christ illustrated this so magnificently when he stooped to wash the feet of his disciples. Despite the belief to the contrary, there is more power in the open hand than in the clenched fist. All power is given unto me, Jesus said. What did he do with that power? He served. This incident also shows the goal of greatness. Again, the question surfaces, what is the goal of greatness? Why do we all in our own way seek greatness? And after we achieve it, what do we do with it? Two disciples, James and his brother John, once asked Jesus for the preferred places in heaven. When the other 10 became angry, that is, the other 10 disciples became angry, Jesus told them, if any one of you want to be great, you must be the servant of the rest. Now that is the goal of greatness. The goal of greatness is not to separate one from the lowly, poor, and needy, as fame and fortune so often do. Neither is it to exalt oneself to a position superior to your fellow man. But the goal of greatness is to serve. The greatest one is the one who serves most. The goal of greatness is service. Stephen Grellet once wrote, I shall pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer it nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. This story of Jesus washing the feet of his disciples also shows the height of humility. This one who had all power and greatness knelt and washed the feet of his servants. All power is given to me, he says, and yet he stoops to wash their feet. Jesus put himself into the role of a servant. He who humbles himself shall be exalted, he said. How odd those words seemed back then, even more so today. But who do we exalt today? Hitler? Caesar? Napoleon? Nero? Or the lowly Christ? Go after power. Nothing wrong with that. Get it. But use it right to serve. Go after greatness. Get it. But use it right to serve. And remember that if a person wants to grow tall, he must bend low. For without humility, nothing else fits in place.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we are announcing 2 tours coming up in 2027, March of 2027. We're going to Greece and we're going to Italy. The Greece tour we call the Footsteps of Paul, and you're going to follow the footsteps of St. Paul in the country of Greece. And then the Italian tour, the tour of Italy, Venice, Florence, Pisa, Rome. We're calling the Make Lasagna Great Again tour. And these are coming up in March of 2027. And if you want to read all about them, the itinerary, the cost, everything you need to know about these tours coming up in March of Greece and Italy, go to tours.afa.net. That's tours.afa.net. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of good fellowship, and see some of the most historic and iconic sites in the world.
It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in humans. Psalm 118, verse 8.
This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. I'm Tim Wildmon with Ed Vitagliano, Wesley Wildmon, and Fred Jackson. And we're moving on to our next story here, which is out of Texas. Pardon me. Involving two teenagers. One of them stabbed another one and killed him. And it's a national news story because it involves, it's a white on black, black on white. You know, the news media love that. Try to stir up racial animosity in our country. And we're going to talk about this story for just a few minutes with Jenna Ellis. Jenna, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Jenna is our host on the morning show, current events talk show called Jenna Ellis in the Morning. That was my idea to name it that, Jenna Ellis in the Morning.
It was a brilliant move.
I thought about that a long time.
I think it was brilliant. Yeah. I'm very grateful for it.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Ed, for
absolutely
acknowledging my brilliancy.
You bet, boss.
On
Mr. President.
Somehow I think I'm being pandered to.
Never.
Okay, Jenna.
We're not pandering.
We only
to
speak
you.
truth.
All right,
we're not pandering to you, but by the way, I love that shirt.
You love this shirt?
I think Ed writes for President Trump.
Right.
Greatest shirt I've ever seen.
Nobody's ever seen a shirt like it.
Never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
What are those, dolphins? What is it?
I think they are.
And he's got a deal on a new shirt.
Yeah.
Did you get that Did you get that shirt from Florida?
Florida? I don't know, and it's I don't know. I got it at a golf. I got it at a golf course I went to.
It was so
but
easy.
Mexico paid for it.
Yeah.
So easy to get you off track.
Yeah.
There.
You guys, I see what you're doing here. All right, so let's reset here for just a moment. Fred, if you would give us the facts of this case here, and then Jenna, our lawyer, is going to talk about it here some.
All right. Yesterday, a jury in McKinney, Texas, only deliberated for a couple of hours after summations yesterday morning, and they convicted a young man by the name of Karmelo Anthony in the stabbing death, convicted him of murder, of stabbing another young man, Austin Metcalf. What had happened was that Karmelo Anthony, during a sporting event there in McKinney, Texas, went and sat down in a tent occupied by a team of young athletes. He was not a member of that team, but he went down and sat down. He was asked to leave. He did not. Instead, Karmelo Anthony had a knife and he stabbed young Austin Metcalf in the chest. Austin Metcalf died almost instantly. Yes, during the past 3 or 4 days, they've had the trial, and Karmelo Anthony, who is black, Austin Metcalf, white, and it became a race-related story. Even though the prosecution, the dad of Austin Metcalf said, don't make this a racial issue. It was an act of violence by a young person. But outside the courthouse there in McKinney, Texas, dozens of protesters, most of them for Karmelo Anthony, held signs saying they wanted justice for him. Another element of this story was a GoFundMe account, which was set up to help Karmelo Anthony's defense. There were reports that, and it was $600,000, I think, had been raised. And there was a report over the last couple of days that Karmelo Anthony's family have used some of that money to move into a very nice neighborhood. So there's a lot of elements to this story. But the bottom line, you have a young teenager, Austin Metcalf, who is dead, and you have Karmelo Anthony, who has been sentenced to 35 years in prison.
Okay. Jenna, we have murders all over the country every day, sadly, tragically. Why has this become a national news story?
Well, unfortunately, it's because the left has politicized it and made it about race, which is just yet another example of the cultural Marxism that is implicit in our nation. And it's not that there is systemic racism like they would suggest, it's that there is systemic Marxism, where they categorize people, human beings, based on our immutable characteristics, whether it's the patriarchy versus women, whether it is whites who oppress blacks, whether it's the rich who oppress the poor. There's always the oppressor versus the oppressed. And if you fall into that category, you are of an oppressor, then you have no other identity than an oppressor. And if you are in the oppressed category, you are perpetually the victim, regardless of whether or not you are in fact an aggressor of harm. And so what this story exemplifies is that cultural Marxism is still running rampant in our society, because the outcome of this case, if you don't look at race, you simply look at the overt act, which was the absolutely unjustified killing of a 17-year-old young man by a perpetrator, then obviously he deserves to be convicted of murder. I think he deserved life in prison or even the death penalty, but he got 35 years. That's justice. But what the left and across the country, but even some of these protesters outside the courthouse in Texas are suggesting, is that simply because Karmelo Anthony is in the category, the Marxist category of oppressor, simply because of the color of his skin, he is a victim regardless of his life choices to murder another young man, and that Austin Metcalf, because of his skin color being white, he is an oppressor and therefore can't be a victim. And so this story exemplifies, again, why we need to reject these stratifications, and we need to go back to the dignity of every human being made in the image of God, has inherent dignity and worth regardless of skin color, gender, any age, any of the immutable characteristics or differences that God allows.
Yeah, that's a great explanation for why this became a national news story. And you're right. The political left on this country frame everything on race, on identity politics, right? Mm-hmm. And the things you've just mentioned. Wesley, did you want to say something?
I was just going to add
this?
Identity politics. In the last 20 years, it's only been one direction, though. They'll usually leave out the color of the person's skin if it doesn't fit their narrative.
Right.
Right. And imagine if this had been a white young man who had stabbed to death a black young man, then of course they would be calling for the death penalty, and it would be, ultimate justice is the death penalty for the aggressor, and it just fits into their narrative of oppressor. And again, it's all about their Marxist narrative instead of simply looking at the facts and actual justice, which is that justice is blind to the identity of the person. It's all about their personal responsibility for their own life choices.
Yeah. Ed, your thoughts
on
this?
I was, first of all, just going to toss out, remember the Irina Zarutska? She was the Ukrainian girl who was stabbed on a train. Nobody on the left stabbed to death. Yeah, and nobody on the left really wanted to talk about that in terms of race either. I do have, Jenna, just a quick question about the sentence of Karmelo Anthony. Is this something, I know it's 35 years, is this something where, since he didn't get death penalty or life in prison, where he can get parole?
Yes, and this is why I personally don't think that it was a harsh enough sentence, and maybe the jury was sort of trying to balance the racial politics. I mean, perhaps. And there were a lot of complaints on social media that the jury didn't contain minorities, which isn't true. It wasn't just a jury of white people. There were minorities on the jury, and so maybe they were cognizant of this and so struck kind of a middle ground. But yes, unfortunately, he may be eligible for parole, as early as when he's age 50.
It sounds like to me this young man who was convicted of murder, Karmelo Anthony, I don't know what happened to him that day. I don't know anything about his background, but if you're taking a knife, a knife with you to, by the way, knife this was a knife-free zone that he went into. And you got athletic competition. Is this going on? And he's been asked to leave the tent. He went to the tent of one of the opposing teams. This is what I understand, and engaged them, and wouldn't leave. Yep. And so it appears to me he went there looking for trouble, you know. And then this Austin Metcalf, young man on the other side, confronted him or told him to leave, and that's when this jury found that Karmelo Anthony just stabbed him to death. He bled out before he could be taken to the hospital and have any chance of life.
And according to some of the reports, they didn't know each other. There wasn't prior history, but according to some reports, there was some prior history of aggression, at least within the context of Karmelo Anthony's family, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, when you have someone who is so willing to perpetuate such hatred toward someone simply because of the color of their skin, you have to wonder. And Sheldon Daniels, who is a Texan, he's a young black man as well, who's actually running for what is her name? The one lady who lost for Senate, Jasmine Crockett, who is now she lost her primary, but he posted this on social media. I practice law in Collin County, Texas, where this took place. Karmelo Anthony will be convicted, as he should be. He murdered that boy because he was raised to hate white people and to view himself as a victim in every situation. It's a culture thing.
No. Who said that?
This is Sheldon Daniels. I've actually had him on my program before. I've met him in person. He's great. He's a great Christian, and he is running for Congress in Texas for Jasmine Crockett's former seat.
Well, listen, the political left in this country and a lot of them, for the reasons you mentioned when we first started conversing here with Jenna, they want to stir up racial animosity in this country, and it's just you listen. We all know. I think the Bible teaches you take people, as Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. would say, about the content of their character, not the color of their skin. So we all have to be guarded against stereotyping too, because we're all prone to do that instead of taking people and seeing them as individuals. Now we'll say this. There is a
reputation that people create for themselves.
There's a reason stereotypes develop. And there is we mentioned this before. Well, I won't get into that. It's not related to this story necessarily.
I was kind of hoping you would, because I was thinking.
Well, okay. I'll just say this. There is a real problem within the young black male population in this country that is
undeniable
and must be addressed by the black community. And I don't know how exactly, but when you have every day in the newspaper, every day on the television news, and the majority of the violent crime is being committed by a tiny percentage of the population, and you go, because I'm guessing between the ages of 14 and 30, black males commit half the violent crimes
out of 330
in this country.
People.
You're going, there's a reason for that. Okay, why is that? Is it because of their skin color? Well, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people
Let me finish, Jenna.
I thought you were. I'm sorry.
Because it's my show.
It is.
And
you
have your show, and you can finish on your show, okay?
Not if Steve Dace is on, but
I'm just.
That's true.
Oh,
That's
Steve
a true
Dace.
statement.
I don't mean to say. I'm snapping at Jenna. If I lose this thought, it'll never come back to me during this hour. So you have to say, why is this? It's not because of their skin color, because we all know good and bad people exist at all skin colors and ethnicities, and we all know this to be true. So there must be another dynamic there that's causing this demographic to be such high at risk for violence and crime. It's because they don't have dads in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking broadly and generally. We all know cases where single moms, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, raise wonderful kids and they turn out great. But if you keep going and increasing the numbers, you're going to see what the Bible says to be true. And that is that children need leadership and mentorship, both male and female, in the home. And when you have 75-80% of the black children in this country born out of wedlock, and then the moms have multiple babies, then they don't get any guidance from the males, what's going to happen? They're going to join gangs, they're going to drop out of school, they're going to be angry, again, broadly and generally. So that's why you see that, and two, the mothers, the 17-year-old mothers who have 2 children, they're going to drop out of school. They're not going to get an education. They're going to continue to be in poverty. You see what I'm saying? So until, and the white community, I think, the numbers are at 45%, maybe, something like that.
They're closing in.
Well, no, they're not closing in. They're like a 30-point margin.
Well, but it's growing. The problem that you're talking about is growing amongst the white population.
Well, here's the statistical agreement with what you're saying. The white population is about 60%, and if you're nearing the half, if in the white community, because they're so much larger than the black community population-wise, if you have 43% start being born out of wedlock, then you're going to see the numbers. You're going to see the same things happen in the white community.
Yeah, I'm just simply saying this is a hard and fast rule that
but
God
in
is.
the black community, it's not shamed anymore.
Right.
And there's some in the white community, not broadly and generally. Again, it's just a way of life that in the black community today, they don't think anything of not getting married to have babies.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And until that changes, nothing is going to change. Wesley, you want to go say stuff?
Just adding to what I agree with everything you just said, but also the culture within the black community of the young men, of these fights that you see them on video all the time.
Yeah, fighting among themselves.
Out in the streets. Drugs.
Right.
It's that, but it's also a growing cultural thing too that would have to be changed.
Yeah,
within.
And you see the rap music reflects the lifestyle, and anyway, it's a real problem that can't be solved by white people.
And it's not
you have to solve those problems within your own community. Go ahead.
And it's not being addressed by the political left or by
they're exploiting it.
They don't want to. Yeah, because this is what, and Tim talked over me as I was interrupting him with the same point. So I'd just like to put that out there because Commissioner Jack Brewer speaks about this prolifically, that this is because of fatherlessness.
It is.
But also the left has an incentive, especially within the black community, because even the problem as well is not only with illicit out-of-wedlock sex, but they're not forming families in that community, but also women are incentivized to have even more and more children because then they get more welfare.
Right.
And so the left wants to keep people on welfare and in poverty because then they continue to vote Democrat. So this is, I think fatherlessness is the key issue that needs to be addressed by the church, but it also needs to be addressed even more broadly because these kids just don't have parents who are discipling them at all.
Okay, this is from AI, so take it for what it's worth, okay, on a AI-generated answer. It says that from the year 2018 to 2020, 28% to 29% of babies born to white mothers were born out of wedlock. So I thought it was higher than that. That maybe these statistics are wrong, but I'm just saying that if you want to know, if you don't have a mother and a father raising the children, again, you can find exceptions. We all know that there are exceptions, but broadly and generally, if you extract out the numbers, you're going to have real problems, and we're seeing that show up in the young African American male population with when they don't have any male leadership in their home. That's
Yeah,
just the way, that's
I was
just a
the
fact
point.
of
The
life.
point I was making is that
Yeah.
it's a hard and fast rule, for the way that God has created humanity, that the family is the basic biological mom and dad with the children. That is the building block of human society. And so it doesn't matter, like you said, doesn't matter your skin color. Nothing else matters if you break that mold. All these pathologies we're talking about, crime, poverty, lack of education, all that stuff, it becomes a reality wherever you break that model. Which is why Asians who come to this country, who are very family centric, excel. It's got nothing to do with their skin color. It is because, whether they are Christian or not, they are playing by the rules of the way God has made people, human beings.
According to this same statistic, 70 to 73% of black babies in this country are born out of wedlock. So, and it's been about that rate for a while. So, unless that changes, you're not going to see changes in the numbers in terms of the criminal activity that the young black males get in trouble for.
And I loved Jenna's point. I mean, I like your points, Tim, but I love Jenna's points that she made about the Democratic Party and the left. They have every incentive to keep this system in place and to not fix it, which is why they're opposed to school choice, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
Because they have a ready voting bloc and constituency of people who are dependent upon the Democratic Party for feeding their children.
Right. And you know what's interesting is if you look historically, the black and white community were the same up until the social welfare programs kicked in big time in the 1960s, the Great Society. Up until then, basically, I'm looking at the numbers, basically blacks and whites, and you really didn't have a lot of Hispanics like you do now in America, but blacks and whites were basically the same in terms of babies out of wedlock. And then that was incentivized by federal government through the big welfare programs in the name of basically making up for the wrongs that had been committed against the African American community in our country, which were historical and real. But they just, you know, there were some people who warned, hey, maybe we shouldn't be giving. So, because what they started doing was they started saying, hey, if you got a dad, if you're a married couple, you don't get any help. But if you will go unmarried, we'll send you a check. Well, okay, that's what happened. And again, you extract that out over time, human nature being what it is, you'll see what, and when Bill Clinton, by the way, I think he did try to reform that. He was one of the ones. Remember, he got called a racist because Bill Clinton, a Democrat, because he tried to do some reforming there in that. But anyway, so it's a problem that unless it's addressed within the African American community itself, I'm sorry to say the numbers of young black males involved in criminal activity is not going to change, because human nature being what it is, and because the Bible is true, and it has nothing to do with ethnicity, skin color. It has to do with either you follow the biblical model for marriage and family, or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you pay the consequences.
Correct.
Both individually and society. Well, all right, Jenna, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Great to be with you.
I'm going to talk now, and you feel free to interrupt me. Go ahead. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're giving me the last 10 seconds. Thanks so much.
Enjoy your 10 seconds,
Thanks
Jenna.
for interrupting me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jenna. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of today's issues on American Family Radio.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Where can you access instruction and inspiration from scholars, apologists, authors, preachers, and activists to deepen your Christian understanding? You could enroll in seminary, but a better way might be the AFA Cultural Institute. You'll find a collection of more than 50 informative inspirational video lectures with more to come. Visit stream.afa.net to experience the AFA Cultural Institute.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Democratic lawmakers are refusing to support the reauthorization of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act in protest against the selection of Bill Pulte to be the acting director of national intelligence. Pulte is currently director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency and does not have intelligence community experience. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says FISA is critical to national security.
If you're worried about the management of the DNI, what you want is guardrails around whoever is in there. This bill does that. This is a bipartisan bill. It was negotiated and bicameral between the House, Senate, Democrats, and Republicans with significant reforms in it, and it needs to get passed.
Former Attorney General Pam Bondi told lawmakers that the current acting AG, Todd Blanche, was in charge of the release of the Epstein files during her tenure at the DOJ. Asked by reporters if Blanche would be questioned by Congress about the Epstein files, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said he was working to have him testify.
Todd Blanche answered questions that Republicans had for several hours, as did Miss Bondi. But we brought Miss Bondi back in, and we're working to bring Todd Blanche in.
The U.S.-Iran ceasefire could be on the verge of collapsing as the two countries launch strikes across the Middle East. Jackie Heinrich reports from the White House.
According to a senior White House official, the talks are still ongoing, and the president will continue exerting maximum pressure to force Iran into a deal. But according to the president's call with our colleague Trey Yingst this morning, that could mean more strikes. He said after Iran retaliated against the U.S. bases in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain, he may keep going, quote, and he said survive. He says he's getting closer to targeting Iranian power plants and bridges because, in his view, Iran is tapping the U.S. along.
The latest reading on inflation confirms you were paying more for things last month. Jenny Casola has more.
The Consumer Price Index rose last month. The 4.2% annual pace is the largest increase since April of 2023. Excluding food and energy, core CPI rose 2.9% for the year ending in May. Both numbers matched economists' forecasts. The monthly increases showed some improvement in inflation. The CPI rose 0.5% from April to May, and core CPI for the month was up 0.2%. The continued increases in inflation have traders betting the Federal Reserve will need to raise interest rates maybe by the end of the year. Jenny Coselda, Fox News.
The U.S. has a blind spot when it comes to defending our country from foreign attacks, according to a candidate running for Ag Commissioner in Alabama. Steve Jordahl reports.
The U.S. had about 6.5 million farms in 1920, the highest number in its history. But over the years, a lot of farms have closed as industry took the lead in the U.S., to the point where there are less than 2 million family farms today. Alabama Ag Commissioner candidate Christina McInnes says it's a hard life, but it's also vitally important.
You're watching so many people leave farming. It's really hard. And that's a national security issue for us.
The reason, she says, is that foreign adversaries are buying up American farmland, specifically China.
Now, as important as it is, as we're watching China come in and 1 out of 4 hogs, purchase 400,000 of our acres.
McInnes says a lot of families are getting out of farming.
As we're watching, the global struggles that are occurring that affect farmers, you're not having this next generation going into it. They can't see the path to success. They can't see the profitability.
She says it's still important in Alabama. It's the state's #1 industry at more than $77 billion a year. It accounts for 1 out of 10 jobs. It's also a point of vulnerability for the U.S.
Agriculture is our golden goose. We need to sit at the table and we need to eat. We need to feed our country. But in doing so, if we eat from a foreign hand, they're going to control us without ever lifting a bullet.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
There's more news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
At Blue Mountain Christian University, undergraduate and graduate degrees can be completed fully online across a range of academic fields. From business and education to technology and healthcare, programs are designed for learners who want the flexibility of online study without coming to campus. Courses are offered in 8-week sessions. Learn more at bmc.edu. Move mountains at Blue Mountain Christian University.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and now Steve Paisley. Jordan, good morning, Steve.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Wesley, Ed, and I think I speak for all three of us. We don't want to talk about Iran.
You're what?
I said we don't want to talk about Iran no more.
Where's that? What's Iran?
No, that's what we want to hear.
Get him started.
I don't know what that means.
We don't want to talk about Iran.
That could be counterproductive. He may start explaining it to you.
No.
I think that was a song from the 80s, wasn't it? Iran so far away or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
I know you don't remember. You and me
away.
but I just remember that was a pop song from the 70s or 80s, I should say. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on AFR. If we're not going to talk about Iran,
which we're not,
yeah,
we've all agreed this half hour. Steve, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. I think what we're going to talk about is the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Oh, yeah.
So yesterday, when Congress calls hearings, and the Southern Poverty Law Center is up at Capitol Hill yesterday and today, and they're talking about the allegations that they are paying these hate groups that they list on their map. They're paying some of them to continue the hate because the demand for racism and hate far outpaces the supply. So they need to foment this stuff.
Gin up business.
Right. They need, right. Well, so yesterday, the president, Brian Fair, was in the Senate. Today he's in the House. And I want you to hear this interaction between Texas Congressman Brian Gill. He is an upcoming superstar, young kid. And listen to him talk to Brian Fair and ask him a question. This is about abortion. Now, he doesn't raise his voice. He is as calm and cool and collected as the other side of the pillow. But he puts Brian Fair into such a bind that the Democrats on the panel have to come to his rescue. Listen to cut 16.
Your organization said that restricting and banning abortion is a tool of that the far right uses to maintain white supremacy. Do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I believe that reproductive liberty is...
No, do you believe that pro-lifers are white supremacists?
I will tell you what I believe if you're asking.
Yes or no?
I can't answer that question, yes or no.
I don't think that pro-lifers are white supremacists. Do you?
What I think is that reproductive liberty is a right that every woman should enjoy.
How many babies in the United States that are aborted are black? About 40% of abortions nationwide are of black babies. Blacks represent about 13% of the population. Does that sound like something a white supremacist would oppose?
What I would say again is that SPLC supports reproductive liberty.
Calling somebody a white supremacist is a pretty serious charge, isn't it? I would think you would be able to defend that if your organization says that. You clearly seem unable to.
Mr. Gill, I'm not sure why you would think I'm unable to do anything.
Because you're the president of the SPLC, which labels pro-lifers as racists.
Well,
does your organization just hurl around epithets like that without any justification?
Mr. Gill, what we do is
I'm giving you the opportunity to
You're not giving me the
Mr. Chairman, what's he referring to? And can he let the witness answer the question? This is outrageous.
No, it's not.
Allow him to speak.
I know you don't like my question.
What are you referring to?
I know you don't like my question.
What are you referring to,
Time
Mr. Gill?
belongs to the gentleman from Texas.
Yeah, by the way, he wasn't stopping him from answering. I just didn't have an answer.
He couldn't answer.
That was brilliant. That was
they need
brilliant
to find, they
insight.
need to find a new spokesperson. Maybe that guy would do better in the mailroom, or maybe even a PR, answering donors' questions. But he doesn't need to be the.
Well, I'm thinking anybody that runs up against Brendan Gill might find themselves better in the mailroom.
No, the reason he was couldn't answer the questions because it's unanswerable. Because if he does answer the question, he's going to disagree with his own organization, which he's there to defend. So it's unanswerable,
and it's an indefensible charge for the SPLC to make.
Yes,
and he points that out by saying that a white supremacist would want black babies aborted,
right?
But but pro-life people want all babies saved,
right?
So therefore, they can't be white supremacists.
And
that was brilliant.
And the fellow was trying to work through in his mind how do I answer this without disagreeing with my own self?
Right.
And he couldn't come up with it in a good answer in time.
That's what's called being on the horns of a dilemma.
Yeah. On the horns of one.
Yes.
2 horns.
That's right. Horns.
Double horn.
Either
dilemma.
way you go, you're getting gored.
Anyway, listen. What was the congressman's name? Who was
Brandon Gill?
Well, he's
only 32 years old,
and he's on the bench. He's a rising superstar, I think.
He's younger than Wesley.
Is that right?
Brandon Gill is 32 years old.
Oh yeah,
sure is.
Sure is.
What are you doing with your life?
Well, since you asked.
Coaching baseball.
Is that it?
Coaching baseball, and this guy's a congressman. Does that make you feel good about yourself?
Listen, Wesley, you're doing God's will. That's what you're doing.
Wesley, your dad just put you on the horns of a dilemma. I don't think that's.
Don't let anybody tell you.
I want to get back to the horn on.
All right, hold
horn
on just
thing.
a minute. I don't want anybody emailing me and calling me and say Tim is degrading his son's life, and I'm not. I was only kidding around. I was only joking. You.
But if you want to email him, here's his email.
Well, I know you don't give me my email. I would just say everybody should grow where God plants you.
Right.
Do you like
bloom
that?
where you're planted.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Balloon.
Well, not balloon. That's what happens if you go to the buffet too often. Talking about bloom
Ed,
where
we don't
you're
have
planted.
to make this an issue of weight. We can just stick with the facts. Okay.
I think all people are beautiful no matter what they weigh.
In their own way.
Yeah.
All right, Wesley, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I want to get back to the horn thing. With the tip of the horn.
No, it's the horns of a dilemma.
The horn. I've heard the word. Obviously, I hate dilemma, but why would you add anything to just hey, it's a dilemma?
What is the origin of horns of a dilemma? I'm asking.
It's a baby boomer expression, I think.
It's because horns getting gored by a bull, for example, is painful.
Right.
Which one are you going to get gored by? So the dilemma is no matter which answer you give, it's going to hurt.
How about this,
so let me
Wesley?
help y'all out. We're
Okay.
stuck between a rock and a hard place. Could we just do that one?
Yeah, but there's how
different.
about pick your poison on this? Go ahead.
I have an answer from ChatGPT.
Bring
The
it,
phrase
Steve.
Horns of the dilemma comes from an ancient logic and rhetoric rather than from farming or bullfighting. The dilemma comes from the Greek word, that's dilemma. The medieval scholars called this a horned argument. The two alternatives were imagined as the two horns of a bull. Whichever horn you grabbed, you're in trouble.
Right there. See,
Thank you. It's what I said.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And you didn't have to ask ChatGPT.
Right. Well,
You could have just asked me. I'm smarter or as smart.
We're going to
just
ask
ask
as AI.
Ed GPT.
Ed GPT. That's what we're
Or
going to call you.
GPT,
Ed
whatever,
GPT.
which was a good automobile, by the way, back in the
Oh,
day.
the GPT. You
GPT. A lot of kids had those back in the day. All right.
I think we need to get back on track.
I think we need to get back on track. You're listening to Today's Issues. We're getting back on track. Anyway, you get the idea now, Wesley? The horns of a dilemma?
Now I get it.
Okay. All right. So, Wesley, Ed, Tim, and now Steve. Steve, back to you.
All right. Southern Baptists are meeting in Orlando, Florida for their annual meeting. This is where they basically, it's the only time the denomination is actually in, these are independent churches, but for these 2 days, the SBC is doing they send messengers, what they call messengers, to Orlando, and they will vote on different resolutions and do do SBC business. Well, they elected a new president. His name is Willie Rice. He is the pastor of Calvary Church in Clearwater, Florida. And he called me about 45 minutes ago, about an hour ago now. He called, and so I had a chance to talk to him, and I wanted to share a little bit of what he had to say. I asked him what the state of the SBC, how he feels it's going, and this is what he had to say. Cut 15.
There have been some stresses in the last decade in SBC life that have created both the appearance and in some cases the reality that there were some things that weren't as grounded as they needed to be. There were concerns messengers had. And I think over the last couple of years that they've sent the message that, the Southern Baptist Convention is not eroding. We're not equivocating. We're enduring. We're standing. We want to be a people who are rooted in our conviction, in our mission, in our message.
That's who?
That's Willie Rice, the new president of the Southern Baptist Convention.
So just elected?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Or today, actually.
The Southern Baptist Convention, they meet annually.
They do?
As a denomination. You're right, they are independent churches, but they're still a denomination.
They are voluntary They are a denomination, but they voluntarily cooperate. In other words, the Methodist denomination owns the Methodist church buildings, and they set pastors. They will almost every denomination will assign pastors to churches. This is a voluntary cooperation. Either side can terminate the membership at any time. And
but they've been they meet annually is what I'm saying. And is the presidency do you know it lasts 1 or 2 years, or is it annual?
It lasts 1 year, but it's kind of an accepted 2-year term. In other words, they'll vote again, and nobody will run against Willie Rice the second.
I got
unless
you.
something.
I got you.
Happens,
so
but
anyway, so they so he is he considered a what is he? You know how he's right. The Southern Baptists have had their differences within themselves over theology and
theology, some sexual
and leadership and other
sexual
things.
Abuse scandal.
Are they? Is that all calmed down pretty much now?
Yeah, and that was he's considered a conservative. Conservative and liberal are not the same. I mean, there's no liberal. There's not even close to liberal like who we think of a liberal and like Democrat liberal. But
You mean in the Southern Baptist?
In the Southern Baptist. These are all conservative. These are all Bible-believing pastors. Everybody that's on the tickets and everything. Very conservative, but he is more theologically conservative. I had a chance to talk to him about. He said the SPLC, the ERLC, which is the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. He said he admitted had not been serving the denomination well over the last years. They've resolved that. They now have that in line. The sex scandal that the Houston Chronicle ginned up. I'm going to say this because sex abuse is terrible, and it is a problem, and it happens in Southern Baptist churches. But it doesn't happen in Southern Baptist churches any more frequently than it happens in schools or every other way. And it is nowhere near what the Catholic Church went through, where they were moving around priests.
Right.
So I will say that the sex abuse scandal was weaponized and used against the Southern Baptist Church. They've gone through that. They put some things in place, maybe needed changes in place, but they're past that. So now they are going on. It's a new day at the SBC, and things are looking up.
That's real nice, Clark.
I would say
real nice.
My only comment is my wife and I have made some serious steps towards eating healthier, and Willie Rice is a lot better for you than just plain white rice.
See what I'm saying?
It's more fiber content.
I don't know. I try to keep this show serious.
He had a very positive, good thing, guys, and y'all
he did. He did.
No, it's positive. And let me just say this.
I got you, Steve.
He brought it.
That a lot of there were some inroads. I think Willie Rice has said this in some of the interviews he's done. That in the wake of the George Floyd fiasco in 2020, there were some attempts, woke attempts to move the SPC towards a more quote-unquote progressive kind of direction. But as Steve pointed out, the conservatives seem to have rebounded.
All right.
So,
next story, Steve.
All right, Clearwater, Florida.
Clearwater.
Yes.
Well, that's where the pastor was from. You just mentioned.
Oh no, that's right. This is in St. Charles Parish, Florida. I'm sorry.
Where is that? Do you know?
It's in.
People, you're going to want to listen to this story. Even if you've been
as opposed to what the other things
even
we've
if you've been bored
about.
the last 5 or 10 minutes with what we've talked about.
You know what? I'm going to take this back. It's in Louisiana.
It is Louisiana.
It's in Louisiana.
Oh, I thought that's my bad. I told you it was in Florida. My bad.
I was also taking
all right,
Florida.
Listen up, people. Listen to the
All
story.
right, Sheriff Greg Champagne in.
What now? Drinking champagne.
Sheriff Greg Champagne.
Oh, okay.
Has awarded a prize to one of his deputies who happens to be an alligator.
Where's this sheriff? Where's this fellow the sheriff of?
He's sheriff in St. Charles Parish. So there's a gentleman named Victor Rivas who was driving impaired and ran into a bridge and got his car messed up so that he couldn't drive it. The police were chasing him. So instead of just giving up, he jumped off of a little bridge into a swamp, started running away, and got attacked by an alligator. And so the deputies had to rescue him from that, at which point they arrested him. So the sheriff has...
Is this funny, Ed?
Yes,
You're about to laugh. This man almost got ate up by an alligator. You think it's funny?
He's fine.
Well, he's fine.
Okay.
But and he's going to tell the rest of the story. But as folks are listening, I want you to consider doing what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Which is the next time my wife and I babysit, I'm going to use this as a let that be a lesson to you, to my grandchildren.
Okay.
Don't run from the cops.
You don't run from the cops.
Okay.
Don't worry about not getting confronted by the cops. That's okay. Just don't run from them.
You be out of the cruiser into
especially
the
if you're in Louisiana
jaws
and
of an
you're gonna
alligator.
have to run through a swamp.
So
I
tell
think
us
a jail cell's more appealing.
Tell us the rest of the story.
There's a picture. I'll give this to Brent to put up on our page. There's a picture of the sheriff giving this alligator, who is decked out in a sheriff's deputy outfit, obviously AI, but he's giving him an award, and the sheriff, his statement says the alligator was not injured and has since returned to its regular patrol of the swamp.
That's hilarious.
Is it funny? It is funny, isn't it?
Well, what the sheriff did, I don't think the man almost being eaten by an alligator is funny.
If he had been eaten or even lost a limb, I would not have laughed.
He was not seriously injured.
It's almost like a biblical thing is what I'm talking about.
I agree.
The Bible does say that during the day of the Lord that people will fall into a pit, and when they climb out of a pit, a bear will grab them, or they'll lean their hand on a building and a snake will bite them.
Where is that in the Bible?
It's in there.
Okay.
I'll tell you, since you've asked.
It's in there somewhere. If it ain't, it ought to be.
I'm going to find it now that you've questioned.
All right.
Go ahead with the rest of that.
It would have been more fitting, though, if this would have taken place in what y'all thought had been the state, which was Florida.
Yeah.
Well,
alligators are in Florida, too, but they're in Louisiana. So to recap, a man in Louisiana was trying to, his car.
He's driving drunk and drove
He's
through a
driving
bridge.
drunk, so that's terrible. And while impaired, he tried to escape across the swamp because he didn't want the cops to catch him. He was running from the cops.
He was.
And he jumped in the swamp. An alligator got him, and that's when the sheriff's deputies caught up with him. Right?
That's correct.
So
and since I was questioned, I would like an opportunity to respond.
Please do.
Amos 5:19. When God comes, it will be as though a man fled from a lion only to meet a bear, as though he entered his house and rested his hand on the wall only to have a snake bite him.
What does that mean?
It means that you cannot escape God's judgment.
Right.
Even if you run, even if you get away from one punishment.
You can run, but you can't hide.
See,
Wesley, what I did there?
That's
you
absolutely
learned that
right.
too.
Is that an idiom? Or
An idiom?
An idiom?
Or an idiot?
Or an alligator, one of the
This
other.
guy was an idiot.
Yeah, he was an idiot. Anyway, he went to jail. He was driving drunk. That was his first big mistake. The sheriff said the alligator was not injured. as Steve said, and returned to his patrol of the swamp. But the funny thing that got my attention was the sheriff's department put a picture up of the sheriff giving an award, Deputy of the Year, to the alligator.
In the uniform.
And the alligator has the sheriff's deputy's uniform on. Can you put that on our Today's Issues Facebook page?
Now, folks should understand that we're having a little fun with this.
Yeah.
So please, and give this guy's name, the guy who did some alligator wrestling.
His name is Victor Rivas, 40 years old. And
For Victor, pray for him because God spared his life.
Yeah.
He needs to reconsider his ways.
Give
his heart to Jesus.
He's being held on a $17,000 bond.
So if any of you feel led,
he'd rather be held by a bond than an alligator mouse. I'll tell you that right now.
James
Am I right about that?
Yeah, you're right.
Amen.
You're right.
All right, 5 minutes left, Steve. What do you got?
All right. Hey, Bruce, the Alsatian dog is fine. I know you were worried about him. So Bruce, the Alsatian, and his owner.
Is that a kind of dog, a breed of dog?
Alsatian is a kind of
dog.
So
we got a dog. To establish the facts of the story right now, we got a dog named Bruce, who's an Alsatian.
Okay. And he and his owner were near the Farne Islands in England, and they were playing in the ocean. And the owner, which I don't think we have the owner's name, but the owner put Bruce on a little inflatable kayak, and they were playing around, and the kayak got away from the owner and went out to sea. In fact, 3 miles out, the dog was trapped. The dog was trapped on this kayak 3 miles out of the ocean. And so they called the Coast Guard, whatever the British version of the Coast Guard is, and they went out and they found the dog, and they rescued the dog.
Amen.
And the dog will be okay.
Bruce the dog.
Bruce jumped off of the kayak and he was a little scared, a little freaked out, so he tried to swim away.
Traumatic.
But they grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, dropped him onto the boat, and he's going to be...
I never heard of a dog named Bruce. Have y'all?
Well, just don't let me down. That's all I'm going to say.
Wesley,
just don't let me down, Bruce.
Wesley, you have to play that song.
I'm hearing a Beatles song in my head.
No, it's ELO.
ELO, and that even.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
It only sounds like Bruce.
It's not really Bruce. By the way, I didn't know this. An Alsatian is the British word for a German Shepherd.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it says. The German Shepherd, also known in Britain as an Alsatian.
Well,
I guess that's because...
Of course they wouldn't want to rent it to Germany.
But
I'm going to go buy a German Shepherd.
Can you imagine watching your pet float out to sea?
Oh.
And at least it was on a
kayak.
A kayak, because otherwise it would have drowned probably.
Oh, yeah.
But 3 miles out into the sea must have been one of those, what do you call them? When the
inflatable kayaks,
the undertows,
riptides,
and everything like that. So
if you love your dog enough to take him along with you when you go into the water, then you'd be terrified to see him floating out to sea.
But the good news is a happy ending to this story. The what amounts to the British Coast Guard went 3 miles out into the ocean and retrieved this dog who was in the kayak.
They did indeed.
A long ways.
Reunited
3 miles.
Yeah.
By water.
The kayak floated 3 miles out into the ocean. I guess it's the ocean.
So I know dogs well enough that next time this guy goes, hey, come on, Bruce, we're going out.
Go get him. Go
Bruce
get him, boy.
Going to be going. Not me.
I'm not going out in that water. I know
you remember the last time?
Right.
You lost me.
Right. So it sounded like to me they were both in the kayak maybe at one time.
He was swimming next to it.
Yeah, he put him on the kayak and he was guiding the kayak in the waves.
And he got away from him.
And then he got away from him.
I got you.
But we've seen the movies with the dog that talks.
Yeah.
This will be a good movie where where you can hear what the dog's thinking.
Right.
You guys ever seen the movie Max?
Yeah.
It's about a military
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
dog movie.
Yeah.
A good dog movie. I think that's based on a true story, I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening to the show today. Today's Issues, the name of this program, and you can get it on podcast if you want to at our website. We post the podcast every day at afr.net. My thanks to Ed and Wesley, Steve, Brent, our producer, Cole, our video man, and Fred, our Canadian.
And Jenna.
Yes.
You don't forget Jenna.
And Jenna, our
You interrupted her enough.
That's right.
Jenna, our American lawyer. We'll be back tomorrow. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we are announcing 2 tours coming up in 2027, March of 2027. We're going to Greece and we're going to Italy. The Greece tour we call the Footsteps of Paul, and you're going to follow the footsteps of St. Paul in the country of Greece. And then the Italian tour, the Tour of Italy, Venice, Florence, Pisa, Rome. We're calling the Make Lasagna Great Again tour.